Welcome back to the Shootaround Podcast. This is episode 7. My name is Josh.
My name is Mac.
And today we're going to be talking mainly about James Harden and his decision to leave Houston, firstly, and then leading to the blockbuster trade to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
So what did you want to start with, Mac?
I mean, there's a lot to unravel with this whole trade. First of all, just going to shout us out here. So you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube as well at the Shootaround Podcast. On Twitter and Instagram, it's just at Shootaround Pod. And on TikTok, it's at Shootaround NBA Pod. So like, subscribe, follow, comment, etc. Please.
Yeah, 94% of our viewers on YouTube aren't subscribed, so you need to change that.
Yeah.
That's making me very upset.
How dare you?
Yeah. Don't watch us and then not subscribe, especially if you're commenting too. That,
Sounds
you
like
get me heated.
Sounds like a lot of casuals.
There's a lot of casuals.
No, that's all right.
Fans.
So we'll start, I guess, with, first of all, James Harden had requested a trade quite a while ago. He kind of made it known that he wanted out. And then there was that press conference where he's like, this can't be fixed. Yeah. He just looked like a sad puppy dog.
It was just a spoiled kind of thing to say, especially after everything that Houston have done. So let's just start with, how Harden ended up in this situation.
Okay.
So we go from the Rockets making him their franchise guy. Shortly after the trade from Oklahoma, they realized that they had a winner in Harden. So they built a team around James Harden. They tried to bring in Dwight Howard to pair with him.
That's right.
Didn't work. Howard and Harden did not get along.
That's like water and oil, to be honest.
It is.
It's a bit of a weird mix of personalities.
It's funny how it's all changed now. Howard is a team guy. He's joined 76ers and everyone's shouting him out as this great team guy.
It only took him 6 more years from then to mature, but he's here.
Yeah.
So, good point, though.
And then you go...
That's flipped.
It has. The entire situation has flipped. They then brought in a bunch of catch and shoot players off the Howard trade to try and, assist with Harden's style of play. That didn't work. So they traded for CP3. And that didn't work. Yeah. CP3 didn't get along with Harden, didn't like the fact that he had no work ethic.
Well, here's the thing. Sorry, just with that one. It did work kind of on the court. In the first season, they were really good.
Yeah.
They led the league in wins.
Yeah, but that's like every situation he's been in. Like they get the wins that they need to make it to the finals. They make the finals. They don't get past the first round or second round.
Or third round.
And then Harden starts blaming everyone else.
Yeah, it's tough. There were some weird breaks that happened during their sort of extended run with Harden there, but I just thought the Chris Paul opportunity was the best one they had.
100%.
And then, they just had a personality clash. I actually saw a video recently I hadn't seen before. I think it happened in 2019 maybe, where Harden's sitting on the bench and Chris Paul's sort of chatting to him, standing up. And then Chris Paul puts his fist out for like a fist bump and Harden slaps it away. Yeah. And it's kind of like, what... I don't know what the conversation was. I don't know what even the situation was.
I've seen that before too. They had more of a personality clash than anything. I don't think it was anything to do with the play on court. I think it was more to do with Harden and Chris Paul not having the same level of work ethic when it came to performing in training and on the court. And then you look at the situations in the finals where when Chris Paul had the ball, Harden would stand at the top of the key and wait for the ball. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Well, that's kind of how he plays. And it's been like that, I think, since Oklahoma City. He was obviously a much younger player back then, but his MO is to dominate the ball and obviously get buckets. He's really good at that. But then if you're off the ball, generally you don't want to just stand there.
Oh, you got to cut.
You got to do something.
Yeah.
Make yourself available to pass the ball to.
Yeah.
Find open spaces, etc. That's how I look at basketball. I don't know about James, but nonetheless, it was a bit of a weird fit. Those two, Chris Paul and James Harden, ultimately didn't work out, and I think Harden would have pushed Chris Paul out the door in favor of Russell Westbrook.
Should have been the other way around, though.
We do love Chris Paul.
I'm a huge Chris Paul fan. Yeah. I would have held on to Chris Paul. But then again, the Rockets have invested so much in James Harden to that point. You can't then just flip the script and go, let's just give up on him and hang on to Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Even though that probably would have made them a better franchise.
Well, they would have looked at it like, that's a pretty hot take. They would have looked at it like the age thing with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
But they also didn't necessarily know that Chris Paul was going to go vegan and reinvent his, physical abilities, so to speak, and sort of keep himself in the mix long term.
They made the finals the year that they had Chris Paul. And
the conference finals.
Yeah, the conference finals. And if Chris Paul hadn't got injured in that final series or the one before, they probably would have been in the finals.
That was one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen, honestly.
That was horrible.
That was the best equipped team to beat Golden State.
Yeah, absolutely.
By far.
But after all of that, they didn't get along. So Houston wanted to get another star. Westbrook had come out and said that he wanted to play with James Harden again. They teamed up and they went full small ball, the craziest small ball lineup I think anyone has ever seen.
Definitely. Poor
work.
PJ Tucker. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel bad for PJ.
Man.
They made him play center. He's banging down there with Nikola Jokic and he's 6'5", and like, man, I've tried guarding centers who are like 6'5", 6'6", and that's hard for me. I'm 6'2", so I'd just give up. Like, there's no point. But yeah, look, they tried to get another star for Harden once the Westbrook thing didn't work because, again, it was that work ethic problem that Westbrook had with Harden. And Westbrook's a polarizing sort of talent anyway, so he's hard to get along with, I think, in most situations. I'm not calling him a bad teammate. He's a bit like Jimmy Butler. He's got to be in the right situation where players can rally around him a little bit and make him the focal point and kind of work off the back of his energy. But obviously Harden didn't get on board with that.
They just didn't fit well together, honestly. Like, you could have had the best, they arguably did have the best coach in the world with the best scheme for the players they had to space the floor as much as possible, maximize Westbrook's skill set. He likes to take a lot of mid-range jumpers.
Well, they kind of started playing him as a power forward.
Kind of, yeah.
Once they went small ball, it was PJ Tucker and Harden were kind of, Westbrook were roaming around the mid-range.
It's a bit weird.
And then cutting out to the wings and then making cuts across the baseline. So I actually liked that team, the way that they played together.
It was fun to watch.
I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a center on the roster. But I think that's me just being a little bit old school in that I like to see a big guy on the court, whether it's a 6'9" center or a 7-footer. It doesn't matter. It's a big guy.
Size is going to help you in a lot of cases.
100%.
So.
They were out-rebounded.
That's the thing. In the playoffs,
regularly,
the game's going to slow down. You can't play 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We'll probably see that with Milwaukee, hopefully not. But nonetheless, the Rockets weren't equipped to get into like a scrappy game with teams. Sorry. And it didn't work out between those two. So they moved on from Westbrook. They brought in John Wall. Apparently Harden preferred Wall to Westbrook.
Well,
which is, again, him swiping right on all the point guards is kind of just like, okay, like, what do you really want, James? And then I guess he hadn't made it clear at that stage that he wanted out until he started playing a little bit with Wall.
Well, it was the off season. It was right before the season commenced. It was Harden preferring to go to a gentleman's club rather than attending preseason training camp with his new teammates, John Wall and Boogie Cousins. So, again...
Hot take, that's going to rub people the wrong way on your team if you choose to go to a gentleman's club over, even
teammates. Meeting your new teammates. He didn't even do that.
Yeah.
Like, even when they were brought into Houston, he was at a gentleman's club, not interested in attending.
It's not very gentlemanly of James Harden.
It's really not. That's actually an awful thing to do to your new teammates. Anyway, he has left that situation now.
He broke the bro code, actually.
He did.
So shame on James. Anyway, sorry, moving on.
He's left Houston now, and I think that he's left, that franchise in a much better situation than they were in with him on the roster. Yeah. I think they're happier, and we will get to see the best version of Christian Wood, the best version of Boogie Cousins, and I think we'll see a much improved John Wall. John Wall will get back to that 20 points per game kind of form.
Potentially.
I'm confident of it.
Yeah, 8-9 assists.
Yeah, I'm very confident. They have a really good roster there. David Nwaba's come along a long way. He's actually been really good this season. Defensively is fantastic. I think I've said that in every podcast, at least about one player. But he really is a brilliant one-on-one defender, especially on the perimeter. But yeah, I think the franchise is in a much better situation than they were.
Well, that's the thing. There's like a cloud that's been cast over the team with the whole Harden thing, and that cloud is cleared out now. And it's more, maybe not blue skies yet, but it's a lot better outlook.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The team should also find a level of motivation from the way Harden exited. The way he sort of pushed the teammates aside, like we said, wasn't very gentlemanly, broke the bro code. The team should find motivation in that and say, you know what, we're going to be better without him. Wall's going to have that motivation anyway because he's trying to get back to an all-star level. People were doubting him, of course. Like, we're one of those people, of course, because he's coming off of an Achilles injury, but he's looked really good. So, yeah, I just think that backcourt as well, if they keep it together, should be pretty good. They're both the same size. They can switch on defense. They're both intense players. They play with passion. I think it could work out really well for Houston, honestly.
I think it could too.
I couldn't agree more with your point there.
Yeah. My hot take would be that Houston are much better off. I think that the franchise is in a much better situation now, especially with all those picks going forward. You can't undervalue a first-round pick, even no matter where it's placed. Like a lot of the top players in the league right now were taken in the middle of the first round. You know, they're not taken in the first 5 picks. So the chances of you picking up a superstar in the mid-range is quite high. So I think it's really good that they've ended up with those 4 first-round picks. But yeah, let's look at the trade now. So now that we've discussed Houston's history, what was the trade?
So the trade was a 4-team trade. It initially was, I think it was just 2, and then it turned into 3, and then it escalated to 4 at a certain stage. So James Harden goes to the Brooklyn Nets, and in return, Houston gets Victor Oladipo, but that's involving Indiana, and the Cleveland Cavaliers were also involved. So let's just run through it. The Nets get James Harden. The Pacers received Karis LeVert and a second-round pick. So there was an update on this trade. It was revised. We'll run through that in a second. But Karis LeVert was the big get for the Pacers. Victor Oladipo, Rodions Kurucs, I probably butchered that, and Dante Exum are going to the Houston Rockets, along with 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps, which I'm not 100% well-versed on.
I think they're second rounds. I think they're all second-round pick swaps.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll have to
research it a bit.
Yeah, we might
Maybe
post that later.
One of our loving fans can educate us. And then the Cavaliers, in like the most left field thing ever, they come in and they get Jarrett Allen from Brooklyn as well as Taurean Prince. So they've added another center.
Smart though.
Just what they wanted. More size.
I like it. I think it's smart. I'm not being sarcastic.
Okay, we're going to get into that in just a second.
I'll discuss the Cavs later.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, that was the trade. Now, just on the Karis LeVert thing, it was revised because LeVert had some news come out that he may have some issues with his kidney. Specifics, it's hard to say.
They found a mass on his kidney.
Mass, yeah.
So thoughts are with Karis LeVert.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it's nothing serious. But yeah, look, he's out for an indefinite period of time.
Yeah.
So on top of that trade, the Nets needed to throw in a kicker, which was the second-round pick and a $2.6 million buffer.
Yeah.
So
bit of cash.
It's a tough one for the Pacers to get that kind of news, thinking that they just picked up, possibly one of the most underrated players in the league, only to find out that he's out indefinitely.
Yeah.
So it's tough for the Pacers and for Karis, who was probably really looking forward to going into a new situation. Pardon me.
Could have led them in scoring.
He probably could have.
Yeah.
With Sabonis playing as well as he has, and Brogdon, who has been outstanding this year, super efficient as always. I think Karis LeVert would have been a nice addition, especially with Oladipo's inconsistency. So,
yeah.
I think this trade is really good all round. Let's focus on the net side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just go into the Nets. So I have some interesting statistics that I have to shout out Jimmy High Roller. If you don't watch Jimmy High Roller on YouTube, he's great. Like, puts together some insane graphics, really interesting stuff. There has never been a trio put together that averaged more points than these three individually. They average 83 points per game collectively. So obviously this may go down with Harden playing with the other two, but it's based on Harden's 24.8 points per game that he's averaging now. So it's already lower than the 30 points he's averaged in the past 3 seasons.
I would imagine that number will go up, actually. I don't think it's going to stay at that. I think because of the way he was playing in Houston, which was like lazy, for lack of a better description, that number is probably going to increase. But yeah, nonetheless, continue with the stats.
But then the other two may go down. So it should balance out. But the 83 points per game is not out of the realm of possibility for those 3 players.
Yeah.
The next highest scoring trios are the 2019 Warriors with 74.8 points per game. Yep. The 2020 Rockets with 75.9 points per game.
Yeah.
Now, it has to be said that Rockets trio is difficult to kind of narrow down who they're actually including in that. But it's Westbrook, Harden, and I'm assuming PJ Tucker. I'm assuming it could be
the 2020 Rockets. That was
2020 Rockets, and the 1984 Nuggets with 76.7 points per game.
You know what's crazy is I know of that 1984 Nuggets team, they played the highest pace of any team in the league in NBA history at that time.
Yep.
They were notorious for scoring like 130, 140, but playing zero defense.
Yeah.
So the fact that the 3 players the Nets are getting, that trio is higher than that team is pretty crazy, even with the way that the NBA plays now with a high pace.
Yep.
So that's a pretty impressive number.
Yep.
What else have you got there, Josh?
So out of the 14 teams with trios that average more than 67 points per game, only 6 made it past the second round of the playoffs. So offense isn't everything, because only one team actually won a championship, and that was the 2001 Lakers.
Ooh.
That was
a dominant team.
Very good team.
Yeah.
But they did not have 3 dominant ball handlers. They had 3 good scorers, and they only averaged, it was like 71 points per game. I haven't got the stat in front of me, but I think it was only 71.
The 2001 Lakers?
Yeah.
So they had,
3 players that averaged 71 points per game combined.
I don't even think you need to throw in a third player for them. They had Shaq, who counts for 2 guys, and Kobe.
Yeah.
And then the third player could be like me or you. Yeah. But so nonetheless, that team was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So these are all relevant.
So the other troubling statistic for the Nets is the usage rate. Durant, Kyrie, and Harden combined for a usage rate of 94.2%.
Wow.
The next closest team is the Westbrook and Harden Rockets in 2020 with 93.2. So
that's a lot of ball handling.
They did not play very well in the playoffs. It's safe to say that ISO ball does not work in the playoffs, and you'll be lucky to get away with it in the regular season. So of the best big threes of all time, one player has to take a backseat. They have to.
Yeah, I just want to push back. Like their style of iso ball didn't work out. I think Miami last year, for example, was an example of like Jimmy Butler was doing a lot of isos in the finals.
Yeah.
And you need to have a guy, and that's why the Nets have Durant. You need to have that guy that's like, okay, everything's failing. Please score for us.
Yeah, just give me the ball.
So in that regard, that's an isolation style of play that works in pinch situations.
I'll take that, yeah.
But overall, the way they played, Houston was very unique with their play style.
Yep.
That didn't work out, as we saw. They got dominated by the Lakers. That obviously got blown up. So these are all really interesting statistics. The high usage side of it is what particularly interests me, because we can talk a lot about sharing the ball and one goal, win the championship, et cetera, et cetera. But these players have egos.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, like Steve Nash might be the best possible fit for that type of scenario where you have to manage the egos, because he's really good with managing his players and speaking to them, getting them all on the same page. But at the same time, this is a one-of-one type of situation. But not only based on statistics, but based on the personalities we're talking about.
Yeah.
One of the players has decided he doesn't want to play, just flat out. And there's a whole bunch of speculation about why he's done it. We can get into that afterwards. Again, we'd only be speculating. We don't know any facts about it yet.
I think we'll wait for an actual report to come out once they've done their investigation.
Yeah.
That we'll discuss it.
Well, there is. They did a little bit of investigation. So the NBA has come down on Kyrie a little bit, but there hasn't really been anything necessarily final or any decisions fully made regarding that, both on the NBA side and on Kyrie's side. But nonetheless, he is a massive headache for an NBA franchise.
Yeah.
Say what you want about whatever he's dealing with. Maybe it's personal reasons. Maybe there's something serious going on. We don't know.
Yeah.
But it's nonetheless like this guy was signed to a huge contract, and he's just saying, I don't really
want to play. We've talked about this a lot with Kyrie Irving. He is not a good franchise player.
I wouldn't want him as my number one guy.
I wouldn't want him as my number two. I wouldn't want him in the franchise.
I thought the Nets were playing well prior to the Harden trade and him bailing on the team. I thought they were playing really well together. Their record wasn't perfect. They were gelling. Nash was and the rest of the coaching staff was incorporating schemes, systems, etc., to get them all on the right page and working as a collective unit. Karis LeVert was playing really well off the bench for them. But now they've made this trade for different reasons. I agree. I wouldn't want Kyrie for a lot of different reasons. I think it's mostly because of his unpredictability.
Yeah.
That's a massive, massive thing to keep an eye on. And you could look at this trade as Kyrie Irving insurance. And it's crazy to think that would even be a concept, considering how talented Kyrie is. But the other side of it, the mental aspect of it, you cannot discount it. What do you think?
I think the Nets have landed three of the best individual scorers of all time.
Yeah.
But
absolutely,
3 individual scorers do not make a team.
Yeah.
You cannot put the best scoring players on a team and go, okay, play basketball. Because on a basketball team, you need players that play a role, that have a role. They go out there, they do their job, and they make sure that their players are open.
There's a history of this. All teams have this with the roles, and everybody knows their spots and places, and you don't step on anyone else's toes. It works out. You win championships.
Which is why teams need to be careful about who they're signing and who they're bringing in. We've seen in the past teams try and add the best possible players into their franchise and then having to blow it up 2 years later because you can't have 4 individual scorers on a team because there's no one else there to help with the defensive side of the ball or the rebounding or to do the little things like setting screens, rolling to the bucket because they all want to get their share of the ball. So how those 3 are going to work on the court at the same time, I don't know. You even look at the Warriors when they brought in Durant and they had Curry. Durant took a back seat.
In a lot of regards, yeah.
Clay took a back seat. Clay was a catch and shoot guy. That's pretty much all he did. He cut to the bucket occasionally, but he was really good defensively. He got the boards that he needed to get, and Kevin Durant did the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, like these are all guys that could be superstars on any franchise, and they are now all on the same franchise, and they take up 95% of their team's possessions.
Yeah.
You can't have that.
It will not work. I definitely agree with that. There is, like, just to play devil's advocate, there could be a situation where they realize that they've never played with this level of talent before, like maybe Durant with, Curry and Thompson and Draymond to that degree. But there could be nights where basically Kyrie's got the hot hand, so they feed him. And if they're happy for him to just score all the time, if they're winning is going to cure everything.
I don't think that is correct with James Harden. James Harden, they were winning with Chris Paul. They were winning with Westbrook.
Yeah.
Albeit it was not pretty, they were winning, right? Winning doesn't cure everything because we've just seen Harden walk out on a franchise that literally bent over backwards to his every demand. And
he's a special one.
He is in a new situation where he is not going to get the same treatment. He's not going to get all the freebies that he got in Houston. He's a new player on a franchise that's trying to win, that hasn't had any success there for a very, very, very long time.
Early
if
2000s.
At all. Yeah. I guess so, but they were New Jersey then anyway.
Yeah.
So, look, Brooklyn have never had any success as a franchise.
Brooklyn itself, yeah.
This is quite possibly the start of something really terrible for the Nets.
Maybe.
If they cannot play together, where do you go from there?
Here's the thing. Durant, okay, so the other angle of this is just regarding the players is they can opt out after, I think, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They can all just leave.
Yep.
Now, I don't think they're going to prioritize Durant. Durant is arguably the second best player in the league.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose a guy like that. They will probably, if anybody's going to be on the way out, it's going to be Kyrie, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Because I think Durant and Harden are going to be a better fit together than Kyrie and Durant, just in terms of the offense. Imagine running a pick and roll with Durant and Harden. How do you defend that?
Yeah.
So just on a purely talent look at it, just looking at the talent of the two guys, that duo should work out okay.
Yep.
But at the same time, again, there's still an ego thing. We don't know enough about how Harden is now that he's on a new team and he has a different outlook. The Houston thing was a little bit catastrophic towards the end, and everybody was unhappy. So I think now with a fresh start, we should see a different side of Harden. That's what I want to believe, although it remains to be seen. They did play today, and Harden had a triple-double, scored 34 points, 14 rebounds, 12 assists, I believe it was. He had 9 turnovers.
Yeah. He's the first player to debut with a 30-point triple-double, which I know. It's James Harden, so this is the problem with this is individually I would have any of them, play for my team as players, as basketball players, individually on their own. I would have them on my franchise. As a collective, I would keep them far, far away from my team. Because of the personality issues.
Such a weird combo.
They're so volatile.
It's such a weird combo.
Kyrie at any moment could just go, oh, I don't really want to play today. James Harden could be like, oh, look, I had a big night last night. So I'm just...
James, you said that for the last 3 nights.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
I'm probably just going to have tonight off.
Yeah.
Which is what he used to do in Houston, which is why those players had so many problems with him, because he just wouldn't turn up to training.
And the funny thing is, you could argue that Durant is a little bit of a... Not a head case, but overall, he's the most trustworthy player on the team because I haven't seen too many guys more passionate about getting better and playing basketball than Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
He's been on the record saying he just wants to hoop in places, and he wants to ignore all the BS off the court and the rumors and all the stuff that happened in Golden State. Whose team is it? Do your rings count because you went to this team, et cetera, et cetera. He just wants to play basketball.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. I would keep Durant above all else. That's a really cold take, trust me. But at the same time, if you can keep Durant and decide who you want to keep between those other two, I think you're better off than trying to make all 3 work.
Okay.
That's how I feel about the Nets. I think because you have the potential to run that type of pick and roll between those two, if you surround them with shooters such as Joe Harris, it remains to be seen if DeAndre Jordan has a truly important role on this team aside from rebounding, if he's going to help them or hurt them with his lack of shooting.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. But you do need to have a big guy on the team. It's kind of the Houston Rockets showed that. I remember seeing a picture when the trade first happened. It was potential Nets lineup. It was Jeff Green, Durant, Harden, Joe Harris, and Irving. I was like, who's grabbing the rebounds? There's no who's defending the rim?
Yeah.
There's
nothing.
nothing
It'd have to be KD. You'd play KD at center, and then what are you doing to his? Yeah, exactly. What are you doing to his frame?
Yeah.
The only other takeaway I would put out there is that someone has to take a back seat out of those 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know who does it.
It's going to be Irving, I think.
Well, KD would be the most willing because it's KD. He just wants to win.
Historically, yeah.
But he also came to Brooklyn to be their guy. He went to Brooklyn to be the franchise player.
You would think
Kyrie was supposed to be his second-hand man, which apparently... there's been reports, whether they're true or not, I don't know. He's not happy with. He doesn't want to be second fiddle to anyone. He wants to be the guy, and he's not good enough. I'm sorry, Kyrie. You're not the guy. If you're watching this, please stop. Stop. You're not the guy.
Please.
You're not it. You're not. I feel bad for KD because KD has now gone to a franchise. He wanted Kyrie there. He wanted a friend there that he could be like, let's play basketball, let's win. And Kyrie's like, nah, I'm sorry. I'm going on a sabbatical. I'm not coming back until I'm ready.
It's unreal. I think Kyrie is the number one headache of all time, maybe.
Yeah, this Brooklyn Nets team, this could get ugly. And I'm hoping for KD's sake that it's not, because I really want Durant to be successful as an individual. I think he's had some tough situations. Playing with Westbrook wasn't pretty. Leaving to the Warriors gave him a really bad name. So I'm hoping that he can, rebound and have his image maintained at a new franchise as the guy. But yeah, Kyrie and Harden aren't the two players to help him do that.
I would pick Harden over Kyrie if that's really what it comes down to.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
Either of them it's difficult to get really confident behind that.
Yeah.
So that's just the net side of things. Overall, there's even more angles to cover there, but
Man, we could go on for days with this. This is probably, in my time, the biggest trade there's been. No superstar like James Harden, MVP winner, has been traded in a situation like this.
Not that I can think of. I'm probably missing something, but it was not in recent memory.
I just came up with that. I don't have anything written down. So if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I don't really care.
At Josh.
Yeah, at me. The Cavaliers are the real winners, though.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's not hot take of the week time yet.
No. That's not a hot take. So they gave up.
That is a flaming hot take. But proceed.
They gave up a Bucks first round pick, which will probably be late 20s.
Doesn't matter for anything. Yep.
30s. It's not a great, number.
Yep.
And they landed Jared Allen to replace Andre Drummond.
You say that though, but where is Andre Drummond going?
Well, they'll just let him go, or they'll trade him.
Okay, so you're saying that they're just going to fade for Cade essentially, or just play the season out?
Yep.
And it might be awkward playing maybe 3 centers, maybe 2 centers.
Yeah, I think this is probably the smartest move the Cavaliers have made in a long time.
Getting Jared Allen.
Yeah, because they will only have to pay him about 10, 12 million. So that's based off the worth of a player like that defensively and rebounding. You're not going to give him a Steven Adams contract or an Andre Drummond contract.
Right.
He's coming off contract this year. He's only being paid $4 million, if I'm not mistaken. You're looking at it now, up a little bit. Oh, no, you're right.
No, yeah, he's on 2.
There you go, 2.3.
Something like that, yeah. No, 3.9 actually.
Yeah, 4 mil. Yeah.
So that's good.
Don't tell me I'm wrong again.
That's a good value contract. But here's the thing. So, yeah, sure.
So he's off contract, though.
If they really like him, they're going to re-sign him, obviously.
Yes.
And then he's going to probably make upwards of $20+ million.
I don't think so.
You think they can get him below that?
Yeah, he hasn't been a starter yet. He's come off the bench for Brooklyn.
He has been a starter. He was a starter on their playoff team when they played against Philadelphia. I think he's going to make big money, and if he doesn't make it there, he'll go somewhere else. And this is where I don't understand what the Cavs did. If the point is they're moving on from Drummond, fair. I think it's weird how they just have all these big guys. So they have, like, Larry Nance has been playing the 3.
JaVale McGee.
They have JaVale, who is sort of like a really crappy version of Jared Allen. So they have him behind Jared Allen, who's technically behind Andre Drummond, who's actually having a phenomenal season. But at the same time, as someone pointed out to me, he can't play really that much in the 4th because he can't shoot free throws. And it just turns into hack a Drummond. I don't know if Allen's free throw percentage is that much better.
No, it's not.
But I understand the point that you might prefer Jared Allen to Andre Drummond. And I was going to ask you that, but it's like abundantly clear now you prefer Jared Allen, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't, like, they just sort of were like, oh, we can get in on this trade. And they just sort of threw themselves in there.
But I like it. I think it's a smart move.
I don't understand their game plan, personally.
Well, I think they trade Drummond. I think that's their game plan.
Maybe.
I think they move off Drummond. They send him to Toronto as an example.
Dude, okay, so I was going to say, like, if that's the plan, makes sense.
Or Boston.
Boston, okay. Do you have a mock trade?
Do you want me to make one up?
If you can. Because I've actually got a mock trade here.
You go. You can think it up, and I'll get a Boston one going.
So we don't know if this is the plan, but I was just going with it. Like, maybe the Cavs could do this. So Andre Drummond to the Raptors for Norman Powell, Aaron Baines, and Patrick McCaw.
They still get a center in return, though. So the
money works.
It'd be a 3-team trade, I reckon. They'd have to offload Baines again.
Why is that?
Because then they'd have the same amount.
Oh, but he's not going to play.
Oh, they just cut him.
They're about clearing up. No, he just doesn't have to play. He can just be third string. And obviously, again, they have a glut of centers, but at least they don't have 3 guys that should be playing. Arguably, well, at least 2.
Yep.
So that would be, and plus, like, the Raptors would be happy to get rid of Aaron Baines.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's just a random trade I thought of. You can disagree if you like. That's fine. We'll see what we've got for Boston as GM Kleinen draws it up.
Let me see.
You can go grab a coffee if you like while you're listening.
So let's say that Boston give up a first-round pick and add their trade exception from the Gordon Hayward deal because they have one of the largest trade exceptions of all time.
Right.
Daniel Tice and Semi Ojeleye, a first-round pick and the trade exception to the Cavaliers for Andre Drummond, all of which are off contract.
So do you think that Cleveland would want that as a return? Continuing to have, because Tice can play.
It'd be all about the assets. So it'd be all about the picks.
Right.
So I just, you'd let those guys walk, essentially, and you'd just take the pick and you'd get off Andre Drummond's contract. You'd have the exception there, whether you wanted exemption, whether you wanted to go again and trade another one. Yeah. Then,
But Boston would definitely, I think they would like Andre Drummond. So that's a fair trade. Yeah. That's a fair attempt. We'll put that up there and see how people feel about it. I can definitely see them trying to shop Drummond, but I thought them jumping in there was so strange and so random. But hey, look, the Cavs they're in a weird spot anyway. I mean, they're trying to make Operation Sexland work. I don't agree with it. I think you have to pick one or the other. It's probably going to be Colin Sexton, but that's my 2 cents on that. What do you think?
I think you got to trade Garland too.
Maybe throw him in the trade somehow.
Yeah,
he's a good player. He
is.
If they want to move forward, I think they need to pick a point guard.
Yeah, and Sexton's come a long way this year. Yeah, Garland's actually looked pretty good too, but I think Sexton has a lot of talent and a lot of things going for him that Garland possibly doesn't. So I'd hang on to Sexton, move off Garland, try and get someone in the backcourt that could defend, and then you go forward from there. But I like the move from the Cavs if they can then turn Drummond into an asset, which they need to do.
That's the most likely pathway for them.
Yep.
So we've already touched on the Rockets side of it a little bit. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Yeah, because I think, like we said, they're probably going to come out of this maybe as the winner, if it's not the team that gets James Harden, obviously. But the Rockets should be buoyed by the fact that they now have this motivation, this sense of we can do it without James. Look at us.
Yep.
And it's a fresh start for the franchise. Even if it doesn't work out, they can just go a different direction.
Yep.
They don't have to worry about paying anybody. Except for John Wall, sorry. They don't have to worry about paying Harden $40+ million if he doesn't want to be there. So that kind of worked out for them overall. They got a bunch of picks. Oladipo, there was a rumor that Oladipo requested a trade to Miami. Did you see that?
Yeah, that happened the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
That was his off-season goal to end up in Miami.
You think he's still keen?
Maybe.
I mean, Miami's a destination for sure.
He's off contract this year, I believe. So he could just walk in free agency, but Miami are also looking at Bradley Beal. So it'll either be Bradley Beal or Oladipo at this stage, depending on how Oladipo comes back for the Rockets. If he comes out for the Rockets and he's averaging that kind of 25 and 4 like he was before, then they'll probably take him. But I don't know what that situation's looking like because they don't want to trade Tyler Hero and they don't want to trade Duncan Robinson, the two white shooters. So I wouldn't either, to be fair, but I'm a Heat fan.
They're a good. They just worked together well. That team.
Tyler Hero is much more than a 3-point shooter. So
he's a creator.
He is. He's unbelievably good off the dribble. And then Duncan Robinson, you can't trade him. Why would you trade him?
He's going to be our number one in our player rankings, just so you're aware. So Duncan Robinson is one of the GOATs.
He is my number one every time we bring this discussion up. I want him, always. He just needs to be in discussion, period. We have to mention him in every podcast or I'll cry. And then he has to listen to me whinge for the next 4 hours.
Yeah, it's almost sinking the podcast. No. So, basically that was the trade. Again, I guess you could probably, from what we've discussed, you can probably make sense that Houston probably won the trade if you don't think that the Nets did. The Nets have a lot of sorting out to do. That team has so many headaches. There's not enough aspirin in the world for it.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. So keep an eye out on the Nets. They played well today. Durant had 42. As we mentioned, Harden had the first 30-point triple-double in a debut for a team. I personally think, this is a little bit of a hot take, I think we overrate triple-doubles overall. I'm still saying like it's impressive when people get it, but I think we look at it like it's a bit arbitrary. Like it's better that a player has 30, 10, and 10 than 30, 10, and 9. It's possible that the 30, 10, and 9 was a better game.
Yeah. Based
on a number of different things. But that's another story. All right. We just wanted to run through some of the injuries quickly that have happened recently. We just talked about Karis LeVert. Found a mass on his kidney. So again, prayers up for Karis LeVert. Very underrated player. Now, there have been some pretty devastating injuries to some of the teams. I'll start on the lighter side of things. Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Atlanta Hawks fractured his knee, which is pretty unfortunate. I can't imagine that felt very nice. He's out indefinitely, last I checked. And then Yusuf Nurkic just the other day broke his wrist. I read that he was out at least 8 weeks. So he can't catch a break to save his career. It's been really rough to watch because every time they get on a good roll, Portland's been playing really well. Nurkic is kind of the spoiler. Yeah. He's the spoiled milk in the coffee. Thomas Bryant from the Washington Wizards, who was having a breakout season. Yeah. Maybe not most improved player level, but he was playing really well. Tore his ACL, done for the season.
I was against the Heat. That was awful to watch. That was really sad.
Yeah. And even more sad, arguably, Markelle Fultz, Orlando Magic point guard, also having a breakout season. He was averaging, I think it was 15, 5, and 5, roughly. Really taking over the reins from DJ Augustine as the lead guard for that team. He also tore his ACL, and he's done for the season. So not great to see that. I think the condensed schedule and the way that the season has kind of been a whirlwind, a lot of uncertainty and a lack of proper training overall to get ready for the season has contributed to these problems. But yeah, hopefully these guys can recover and come back stronger. Then now there's also been some issues with the protocols of the league and the having to isolate players for obvious reasons. So some of the games have been postponed. Some of the players have been held out of games. There was one game Philly played, I believe it was Denver.
It was.
Where it was like Denver. 9 guys were held out. Yeah. And then that was actually, so quick shout out to Tyrese Maxey, rookie for the Sixers, went off for 39 points. Huge That was pretty crazy to see. So out of darkness came that sort of light, but nonetheless, you don't want to see the league have to postpone too many more games, obviously. So hopefully things can get under control a little bit. Given the climate in the United States, it's hard to predict what's going to happen, like almost impossible. But I think the league is making a lot more of an effort. I mean, they already took it fairly seriously, but given that they're outside of a bubble now, it's definitely, they're a lot more vulnerable. So hopefully they can take it a lot more seriously. The players get on board as well. Guys like George Hill have come out and said that it needs to be improved. And he's a pretty important voice for the league. So hopefully they follow suit. But that was just a quick run through of a few things. Now, I just wanted to quickly touch on the New York Knicks. They've been surprisingly good. I didn't want to say anything early in the last episode. I wanted to bring them up a little bit, but it was only 5 games in. They had beaten some good teams at that point. Like they beat the Jazz, they beat the streaking Cavs at that point. They actually beat some good teams, and they've stayed relatively consistent. I just think they're on the right track again, finally. It's only been 20 years, save for one season when they made the playoffs in 2013, but they have been such a dumpster fire for so long. I just want the Knicks to be relevant again. I really do.
RJ Barrett looks like the real deal.
He does. He has ups and downs still. I'm not going to lie.
Man. It's
but
his
I'm pulling
second
for
year,
him.
and as I've said on this podcast before, he's playing point guard. That is a really hard position to play in your first season or second season even, your first couple of years in the NBA. It's a lot of responsibility. Yeah, you're the primary ball handler. You are responsible for getting players the ball in the right situations. And I think this year he's already taken a huge step forward in his play on the court. He has those lapses, but again, he's 22, 23 years old. Yeah. You know, there's so much more for him to learn and such, way more development in his game and more opportunity to be even better. So the fact that they're where they are now is a testament to the Knicks' development. Finally, bringing a player through and actually working with them to get them to that level. So props to the Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that not only because of the play of RJ Barrett, but also obviously Julius Randle has been blossoming. He's been outstanding.
He's been brilliant. Back to that Pelicans form.
Yeah, actually, definitely. I think he's the leading candidate for most improved player at this point. If he can keep it up, I don't know if what he's doing is necessarily sustainable. The same can be said for a lot of players, but because it's still early, we'll see how it goes. But the team has something resembling a good culture now. I think Tom Thibodeau was actually a really good hire for the team. He's going to make guys accountable. I still think he plays guys too many minutes, but these guys are young. I mean, Julius Randle is probably less than 25 years old. So, I mean, if
26.
He's 26? Okay. Yeah. So if you're playing him close to 40 minutes a game, look, he's not going to fall over on the court.
That's Tibbs.
That's Tibbs, yeah. Tibbs things for sure.
But yeah, just quickly on Julius Randle, he's top 20 in points, top 10 in rebounds, and 12th in assists.
That's impressive.
That's very impressive. Considering he's never had those assist numbers before, I just want to know where it's come from.
Yeah.
You know, prior.
In the offseason, he spent the whole time throwing the basketball at the wall and like initiating passes.
Yeah, he's always been known as a ball stopper, Julius Randle.
Bit of a black hole.
The Knicks fans especially would jump on him straight away in a loss because he'd hold the ball up, is what they'd say. So the fact that he's now come out and is now averaging 6.7 assists per game is very impressive. His turnover numbers have gone up, but that's to be expected when you're averaging more assists. He's been, excellent. Like there's nothing more you can say about it. He's truly been absolutely superb. Really
good value contract. He makes $18 million a year.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good.
That's savvy, which you don't get to say about the Knicks all that often. The fact that he's shooting 35% from three is really good.
Yep.
And his field goal percentage is at 50%. So all of those numbers are up on his career averages, which is a really good sign for, a young Knicks team.
Yeah. At the time of recording, actually, they've lost 5 straight, I believe. I just saw that there. So, the last 5 games haven't been amazing. The last 2 were competitive with Cleveland and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they're on the right track, honestly.
Look, the fact that they're there or thereabouts in every game
potential playoff
is
team
much better than anything we've seen from them before. They've lost to some bad teams. They've lost to some good teams.
They beat some good teams, and they've also beat some bad teams. It's been a mixed bag.
Young. They're a very young franchise. You know, I can see them going a long way. So, if they can hang on to their key players and continue to develop, Elfrid Payton, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle,
Mitchell Robinson. I love that guy.
He's off contract, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of contract he lands. But I think
catch. That's a good point.
If they can continue to develop these guys, then they've got a big future. And Obi Toppin,
I've almost forgot about him because he hasn't played much.
He hasn't played.
Yeah,
he hasn't played.
I mean,
I think he played last game. Let me just double check. Can you talk about something while I'm doing this?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what to make of him yet. He's an exciting player. A lot of comparisons to Amari Stoudemire, kind of like a poor man's Blake Griffin, if you really want to stretch it. But nonetheless, he's an exciting prospect as well. So even if they let go of Robinson, and let's say they trade Randle while his value is extremely high, they can continue to build around Toppin. To me, the most important thing with the Knicks is that they're building good habits. They're playing strong defense, and the offense is going to catch up eventually. They just need to add talent, or the talent they have needs to improve, which I have all the faith in the world that RJ Barrett is going to be a good player, simply because his godfather is Steve Nash. I just think that that's such a good support system. If Barrett's not playing well, you can bet that Nash is probably going to shoot him a text like, hey, man, do you want to get in the gym? Let's work on some things. And who better to work with than Steve Nash? Yeah. Although that might be tampering. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's the head coach. It would have to be off the record.
He's the head coach of their
crosstown rival.
Yeah. So back to Obi Toppin. Yeah. He played 10 minutes against Cleveland on the 15th of January. That's US time and date. He attempted 2 field goals, missed them both, including 1 3-pointer, which he also missed. But
Spicy stats.
His rebound numbers were 4 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He had 1 steal.
Yep.
And he had 1 turnover.
It was 10 minutes. He was a -2. So, we're going to draw all our conclusions off this one statistical game.
He has a long way to go.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin. He's had some injury problems since coming in. He had a calf strain issue. I think he had another issue as well. So over the Christmas break and in preseason. So yeah, I don't know. There's nothing you can say about him yet because he hasn't played. So when they end up with Obi Toppin on the court, we'll have a better idea of what to expect out of him.
Absolutely. The Knicks are my second team. I don't really say a lot about it. I think you might have referenced it a couple pods ago.
Yeah.
Where your team, the Knicks.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah, I know. It's a big secret.
It's a secret. It's no longer a secret.
Yeah.
I've been a Knicks fan for a while. I just didn't say anything because they've been garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless, that's the Knicks. I think they're on the right track.
Yeah. They've done a good job getting the team to where they are. So what do you got next?
Hot take of the week.
I'm going to start us off here, Joshy.
Yeah, get us kicked.
So, you said earlier the Rockets are going to come out of the Harden trade much better and potentially make the playoffs.
Yep.
I was shuffling between my 2 takes. That was one of them, but I'm going to go with the Raptors are going to bounce back and surprise people this season. Okay. They're going to make the playoffs, as I predicted in the predictions podcast.
Yep.
But I think they're going to bounce back. I think their culture is too strong to fail.
Okay.
I really do.
Yep. Who do you think that's going to be on the back of? Well, someone has to pick up their performances because they've all been pretty average.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, so Lowry and Van Vliet have played well. Their backcourt has been good. There's always going to be the criticism with them that they're undersized. Siakam has picked up his play as well. He's been getting close to triple-doubles. It was really tough to watch him miss 2 game winners in a row.
Yeah.
Like, that was crushing, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to keep their heads up. Nick Nurse is still one of the best coaches. The record doesn't reflect the team.
Yeah.
I think it's on the back of the entirety of the franchise. Of the players, I should say, within the franchise. Chris Boucher, Bloc Québécois, the French-Canadian phenom, has been outstanding. A lot of people calling for him to start.
He should.
This isn't even Homer Corner. But yeah, I think Boucher might be our leading guy at this stage. And Anunoby needs to pick it up as well.
I think I said that in episode 3.
Boucher?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll have to go back and check the tape on that one.
Yeah.
I think I did say that Boucher is a potential most improved.
Okay, you might have said that, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I did.
I think I did. Then again, my memory is awful, so I might just be imagining it. One of my hot takes, which I didn't really get into before, is that Christian Wood will be an all-star.
Ooh. Okay, I like it.
I don't think it's that hot, to be honest. I think it's like
mild.
lukewarm at this stage.
It's like Frank's Red Hot, but it's the original version.
Yeah. It's like
no habanero.
Peri.
Yeah. Peri take.
But my actual hot take is that Domantas Sabonis should be in the MVP conversation with Nikola Jokic. He's averaging a double-double and 6 assists. He's had a 20-20 game. He's shooting 40% from 3, 56% from the field. He's on pace for 158 threes this season, while he only attempted 121 combined in his last 3. If he can correct his turnovers, he's actually tied for 10th in the league at the moment.
Wow.
And improve his free throw percentage, which is only at 67%.
Yeah.
He should be in the MVP talk. Pacers are sitting 4th in the East. They are 8-4. They've also had kind of a bumpy road, and the Karis LeVert thing is also, more bad
Super
news for the Pacers.
Yeah.
But he is the reason why the Pacers are playing so well, which is the definition of a most valuable player. So, we should elevate the talk of Sabonis.
Okay.
Another European big man. They're all fantastic.
What's in the water over there?
I don't know. I wish I was European.
Wow, that's a hot take.
Kind of am. I'm German, but that's going back a long way. I don't know.
I'm English and French, so yeah.
Well, you're a bit European too then. There you go.
Well, that's my background, is English and French.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're learning out about each other's history on the podcast. How good's that?
Fun.
All right. What's your performance of the week, Macca?
Yeah. Look, this is going back a couple weeks because we had our last one postponed, the podcast that is. So we have to give a shout out to Stephen Curry dropping 62.
I had exactly the same.
I was going to say that's definitely probably the same one as yours.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to see it. I hope so anyway, because it's so much fun to watch him just going off.
I loved it.
He's one of those guys where if he starts going off, you're texting your friends like, turn the TV on or put the stream on or whatever your league pass is.
Yep.
Get it on, drop everything. Curry's going off.
And then you send the highlights out and then you post them on your socials and you're like, did everyone see this?
Yeah.
He is the most electric player in the NBA.
When he's
playing well, there is nothing better than watching Steph Curry play basketball. Gets his shots from absolutely anywhere he wants them. Doesn't matter if there's a hand in his face, if he's triple teamed, doesn't matter. He's scoring. Like,
it's amazing.
In that Trailblazers game, every player in the starting five guarded him at some stage.
Good luck.
Which is, there's no other player in the NBA that demands that kind of attention.
Bad idea.
You could argue
Nurkic on
KD
him.
and you could argue LeBron, but you can't put small guys on him, on either of those two. So Steph Curry is probably the only player where you can switch 1 to 5 and try and stop him. But Derrick Jones Jr. had a tough time, and he's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league. Robert Covington couldn't do anything, and he is probably top 4 in best defensive players in the league.
Neither of their backcourt's going to do anything.
And Nurkic just stood and hoped that, he couldn't do anything.
That's a bad matchup.
That is a really bad matchup. And obviously Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are not known for their defense, but they both had a go. What are you going to do? Steph Curry on is the best thing in basketball. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah. And actually, funny you bring up Lillard. He would be like my second place for that award, so to speak, like the turn on your TV right now guy. Because when Lillard's going, it's pretty impressive.
Doncic is another one that's really good to watch. But I don't know, he does it so casually you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like you'll just look at the box score and you'll be like, oh my God.
So true.
Doncic just scored 42 and we're 3/4 in.
Exactly, yeah. You sent me a text the other day about LaVine. He was going off against the Clippers.
LaVine went off against the Clippers.
He's an underrated one for that.
He
but
is.
Curry, I agree, he's electrifying. I just wanted to point out, I just really wish that the haters could stop saying like, oh, he needs this, and that. He's not as great as we think he is because the team hasn't been performing as they have in previous years. Guess what? They don't have the same level of talent. The team is, they have a bunch of fresh bodies on the team that need to acclimate to how they play. Oubre, Wiseman, etc. But it's really strange how people so quickly flip on Curry.
You just can't put it all on Steph Curry. He's a 2-time MVP. He was a unanimous MVP.
Exactly.
And he is one of the best NBA players we have ever seen. And this is the same issue we've had with LeBron for years. Everyone jumping on LeBron. He's finished. He's done. LeBron's over. No more LeBron. And then he comes out and wins the finals again.
We've heard that for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, he's declining.
Just enjoy these guys while they're here.
Exactly.
Just watch basketball. Enjoy watching these guys play basketball while they're playing basketball. Like, what more can you say about a player that can all of a sudden flick a switch and hit 62 and then walk off the court and then come out the next game and put up 39 or 40 or whatever he did? There's no one in the NBA like that. You got a handful of players that can actually score that many points in the first place, let alone a regular basis. Like, this is a guy that's now averaging 33 points per game. You can't watch that every week. Just enjoy it while it's here and stop calling players out.
He's pretty good, that guy.
Oh,
Curry.
man.
We need to respect him historically.
I'm going off and I should probably relax a little bit because there's a lot more of this podcast to go and I don't know if I can get away with going off on people like that.
That's okay. It's well worth the time. So we had the same performance of the week, obviously. Now, play of the week.
Yeah, what do you got?
Oh, you go first.
Okay. All right. I'll take this one. Aaron Gordon dunking on Giannis.
Okay. That was a good one.
In the loss to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Why was Giannis trying to take a charge on Aaron Gordon?
That's the wrong guy. It's almost the same way you could look at it the other way. Why do people try to take a charge on Giannis?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Aaron Gordon definitely isn't the guy to get in front of.
Well, Giannis is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's an MVP, and he's one of the best defensive players we've ever seen. His ability to block shots is unbelievable.
It's pretty good.
and he sees Aaron Gordon driving and decides that he's going to take a charge at 6'11", and he just stands there and gets dunked on.
He just conceded.
He literally got Aaron Gordon's man business in his face.
He got smashed on.
It was it was crazy.
Yeah, it was a good dunk.
I was happy to see it. I really like Aaron Gordon. He needs to get out of Orlando, but I really enjoyed watching that play unfold. Because I'm a Heat fan, first of all, and anything that happens to Giannis in a game is absolutely hilarious to me. I love watching Giannis play, don't get me wrong. I'm just going off on people, calling people out. But, Giannis is someone that just gets what he wants so often, and that's his level of play. So to see him get dunked on like that was it was nice. It was good to watch.
You love to see it, yeah. To my knowledge, it doesn't really happen that often.
It doesn't.
He's not a common dunk victim.
No, it does not happen.
He's the
often at all.
dunkey.
Like he was dunked on by Bam a couple of times last year, but in that playoff series, everyone was dunked on by Bam at some stage. But yeah, it does not happen often. Not often enough, for it not to be a headline. So that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Okay, that's a good one. I think mine was better. I had a De'Aaron Fox dunk in the clutch.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Unbelievable. And then he roared after like a lion.
That was a good
one. That was a pretty crazy dunk. I didn't expect him to actually dunk it because he got a mismatch, I think, and then he drove on the guy and just dunked it like tomahawk and let out a scream. And it was in the last 3 minutes, so it was kind of like, whoa, like this guy's for real. He means business.
Yeah, his contract definitely took him to another level.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's been much better this season. He's been more efficient.
Right.
And I think he's been better at getting guys open. So I really liked watching De'Aaron Fox this year. We've said it before, but that Kings team is very entertaining.
Yeah, he's still young, obviously. I think he still has a ways to go to actually fill in that contract if possible. Yeah. It's pretty lofty. He's 23 years old. He just turned 23 recently, December 20th. But yeah, I love that dunk. I want to see more of that from De'Aaron.
When he's aggressive, that's when he's playing his best. When he looks to get his own shot, that's when he's playing at his best because he then finds guys open more often as people collapse the defense as he's driving. But yeah, that play was tremendous. He was outstanding. All right. What is your trash?
Trash. Get that garbage out of here.
Okay.
What is the trash of the week?
So this happened, I think, the day after or the day of our last podcast, which was January 2nd. Pat Beverly, a.k.a. the Chihuahua, pushed Patty Mills in the back on a rebound and honestly could have injured Mills pretty badly if Mills fell the wrong way. I don't know if you remember the play. I can show you the video. But it was bad. And then after that, he complained about the call as if nothing happened or the ref was lying. The ref saw it clear as day and called it. And Beverly has the audacity to go up to the ref and give him, an earful about how the call was a bad decision. Pushing Mills in the back like that was a trash play. I just think, honestly, I like players that play with Beverly's level of intensity and passion.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do.
Yeah.
I like to think that I play with that level sometimes, personally. So I see a lot of myself in Pat Bev. It basically is what I'm getting to. But his level of scumbaggery is so unacceptable.
And it gets worse every year. It really does.
He has such a checkered history of doing dodgy stuff.
It's just dumb. Like, there's no other way to put it. He just has these brain snaps where he's like, you know what? I'm going to rest my head on Kevin Durant's stomach this whole game.
Yeah, I'm just going to
be... What are
be...
you doing?
Like, you can be a pest, but then you turn into a nuisance.
Yeah.
And then you look like an idiot.
But I do love watching Pat Beverly play because it's entertaining. But at the same time, don't do things that are going to put other players in a situation where they could get injured because that kind of play can ruin a player's career.
Absolutely. The Mills thing, like, first of all, the one that really stood out to me originally was when he injured Westbrook's knee. Going after a loose ball. They were heading into a timeout. This was going back, I think, 2013 or 2014.
Yeah.
So he did that. But then, again, he has a checkered history of doing stuff. And then he just continues to propagate the notion that he's a dirty player. Pushes Mills in the back going for a rebound. Like, I get it. You're chasing after the ball. It's competitive, etc.
Yeah.
But that's not acceptable.
There's like a select few players in the NBA that play like that. Marcus Morris and Markieff Morris. They're both like that.
Marcus is much worse than Markieff, but yes,
Well,
they're on the same
Markieff
level.
has really bad
He's not
tendencies.
good.
He does that too. And then Pat Bev. There's a couple of other ones that are just escaping my mind right now. Boogie Cousins is
Sometimes.
renowned for making, dumb decisions.
Yeah. Marcus Smart occasionally can do some weird stuff, but he's not the worst.
But they're players that play with such intensity, and that's nothing against them. Like I like watching those guys play because they play with such a huge amount of passion.
They
And
play with grit.
yeah, and you
you
don't
love to
get
see
that
it.
out of a lot of players. Like Bam Adebayo has that, that animal.
Yeah.
And so does Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And that's why teams don't like playing, Miami Heat. They don't like playing against the Clippers because of the defense.
It's going to be tough. You're going
and
to come away with some bruises after the game.
Exactly. It's physical.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do things like that. That is trash.
Yeah.
That is trash.
That's bad. Can I show you the video real quick?
Oh, yeah. Bring
Hang
it
on a
up.
sec. It's ugly.
Oh, that's bad.
Just pushes him right in the back.
That is bad.
And then he's moaning about the call, like, what happened? Are you kidding me? Mills is classy about it, too. He doesn't say anything. What was your trash of the week, Josh?
Mine was the Andre Drummond doing Lord knows what in an ISO at the free throw line.
Yes.
This
I almost forgot about that play, actually. That was hilarious.
Andre Drummond play is one of the best plays of all time for all of the wrong reasons.
An all-time Shackton.
What was he doing?
This might have initiated this Jared Allen trade.
They honestly, it was after this play that everyone's like, what? Why? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think Kobe Altman got on the phone, the Cavaliers GM, and he's like, did you just see what... Okay, let's get Jared Allen or somebody else in here. This can't happen again.
He held the ball for the whole 24 seconds, did nothing with it. What was he doing? I don't understand. I've watched this play about 30 times, and I still have absolutely no idea what he was doing. Let's just, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 3, 4. He's wide open.
I like the music,
Literally
too.
he's got three meters between him and Jonas Valanciunas, and then
Whoop.
he lays it up to himself. He has been watching way too much Bam Adebayo, Nikola Jokic, and going, I can do that.
What was that? Oh, man.
I have no words to
no
describe
words.
what that was.
Yeah,
He didn't do anything.
it was bad.
Like he had players moving off the ball, didn't pass it. He had an open shot from mid-range, which we've seen him knock down this year. He's actually shot from mid-range.
He would have been much better doing that.
Could have shot at any given time, decides to drive on Jonas Valanciunas, who's one of the better inside defenders in the league,
Yep.
and then throws an underarm layup, alley-oop type pass to himself, which I'm sure was a shot.
Was
What?
it though? I don't know. It looked like he was like, "Oh, I just put myself in a weird position. Let me try to throw it out and regather my thoughts."
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Look,
This is
totally
trash.
valid. I think yours is actually more trash than mine.
That
So
was
I'll give you the
trash.
upper
was
hand.
absolute trash.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything worse in a basketball game. Actually, that's a lie. I have seen worse. But that was the worst one I've seen this year.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely horrendous.
That might be Shackton a fool
yeah.
play of the year.
Yeah, it may be. Already.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty early.
That
but
was
yeah.
that was a shocker.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the NBA power rankings now.
Yeah.
This is a bi-weekly thing. Now, because we missed last week, we're just going to go back into it this week rather than going 3 weeks.
Correct.
And yeah, let's jump into it this week with rookies.
Yes.
This is becoming a very hard list to finish and to put together. There are a lot of good rookies this year, more so than we've probably had in a long time.
Yeah, it's a deep draft. It may not have like star power necessarily.
Yeah.
Like there's not a stud.
I would argue that there are 2.
Okay. I mean,
I would argue that there are 2 players that are going to have very, very, very good NBA careers,
yeah.
if not finishing on the top 10 lists of some of the highest statistics of all time.
Right.
I think that these 2 players are the best chance of making that list. We'll get into that because they're our top 2. But let's start with number 5. Who we got, Macca?
Well, actually,
You know
first
what?
of all,
Yeah, special mention.
special mention. Anthony Edwards actually fell out of the top 5.
Yeah.
He's still my pick for Rookie of the Year. I have to stand by it. But
He's not mine.
he's honorable mention because he's still leading rookies in scoring. For what it's worth, despite the other 5 doing their best to climb the list.
Yep.
He isn't an efficient scorer yet. I mean, he's a rookie. It's a weird season.
He's shooting 26% from 3 and 37% from the field.
38, round up.
Yeah, 38.
37.9%.
My bad.
So not great. Effective field goal percentage is 44%. We're rounding up. Pardon me. Yeah, so 12 points per game. Not too bad, but
76% from free throw.
that's not all right. That's all right.
Yeah, 3 rebounds and 2 assists.
The thing is, I don't think he's impacting winning enough, and that's where he has to drop off the list for me.
He wouldn't be my pick for Rookie of the Year.
No.
I don't think he's been good enough. Look, he's in a tough situation for Minnesota.
A lot of
Minnesota
guards.
aren't a fantastic franchise.
A lot of wings on
They
that
have a
team.
lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So Edwards will probably carve out a nice NBA career. I don't see him being a stud or a superstar.
I think he's headed for superstardom. It's
There you
just
go.
this is not the season.
We can argue about this for the next couple of years because we've got a long time to watch Anthony Edwards play.
I'm in the minority. I'm sure I am.
Oh, you probably are. He's only 19. That's another thing that's probably should mention.
Someone else called
he's
me
very
out, but
young.
yeah.
Very young.
So, so number 5, cracking the list for the first week, for the first time, that is, Tyrese Maxey, a guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. On the back of some really strong performances recently, there's been obviously that glut of players that needed to isolate, so he's gotten all the opportunity in the world, and he's taken the most of it. Obviously, Doc Rivers trusts him and empowers him to score, and he can score in bunches. He had 39 in a shorthanded loss to the Denver Nuggets last week. And I just love his willingness to go for it, to just shoot the ball, take it to the hoop. He's strong with the ball. He can handle it really well. He's fearless. He looks fearless out there. For a rookie, it's impressive.
Yeah. His floater is the best part of his game.
Okay.
I watched him play twice against the Heat, and the floater's deadly.
Right.
Like him driving to the basket and the ability to stop on a dime and throw up a floater, caught out Heat's forwards a number of times.
Right.
And his ability to find open shots on the perimeter needs a lot of work. He takes some pretty bad shots on the perimeter when he takes them, but he's a rookie. So, you know, the fact that he can put up 39 as a rookie is impressive on itself.
It's going to improve.
Yeah, he's only going to get better. And I like watching him play. He's been pretty entertaining to watch. He's very, very fast up the court. He has good defensive instincts. Yeah. Reminds me a bit of Halliburton if we're talking about rookies here. The defensive instincts are there. His ability to read where the pass is going. And he cuts off the passing lanes a lot. Plays a bit like De'Aaron Fox. He's very, very quick. Good up and down the court. Solid defensively. Doesn't have a lot of bad turnovers in his game. Just needs work in finding good shots.
That'll come with time.
He's a good player, though.
They're probably going to prioritize keeping him around.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is.
They should.
Number 4, who we got?
Peyton Pritchard.
Yes.
He is Boston Celtics' first-round pick. He is fitting in very nicely into their rotation.
He's been important because of their injuries.
He has been. So they've lost, what's his name?
Kemba?
Well, Kemba and what's the other guy? Jeff Teague.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they don't have Kemba Walker.
Forgive me for forgetting about Jeff Teague. Sorry. Sorry, keep going.
So they have Kemba Walker missing and Jeff Teague missing. And since those two have gone down, Peyton Pritchard has been their six-man energizer off the bench. He's come in, he's added a lot offensively, really good at getting to the mid-range and then setting up shots for his players from there. Really solid on the offensive boards too for a guy that's 6'1". He gets up there and has really good anticipation for what's going to happen next. Really good at reading the game, solid at following up missed shots. That's a lot of things that you can't teach. That's just energy. So that's what got him on the list.
To that point, he unfortunately took your heat out in a game-winning putback.
That was hard to watch.
Should have dunked it.
Should have.
But he won the game for the Celtics. I think there was like 0.3 left on the clock or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, there was.
But he was the last guy I expected to grab that board. I guess they just weren't paying attention.
Well, no one did. They weren't watching
Peyton.
him. They weren't watching him. He picked up 4 or 5 offensive rebounds in that game too. So it's not like he wasn't pestering the boards.
Scrappy guy.
And he is, very scrappy on defense too. Just really in your face, nonstop. A bit like Pat Bev.
Yeah. No, he's like the good version of Pat Bev.
He's been learning from Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
So
hopefully the good things, not all the bad things. There is a video I wanted to show you, Josh, of him dribbling. Look at this. He's a machine. We'll post this.
That's impressive.
It just keeps going.
He's unbelievable.
I'm like, this stuff is cool, but when you're really low to the ground like that, it's unreal. So I don't know where it looks like he's just in his garage hooping out in the burbs of Boston. But
you can tell that he's had, a lot of time to mature his game because of the there's a lot of things that Duncan Robinson talks about. I'm going to bring him up again. We've brought him up. This is the 3rd time in this podcast.
Never enough.
He just started a podcast, but he talks with JJ Redick a lot about the stigma of being a white player in the NBA.
Right.
And the amount of attention that gets paid to you on the defensive and offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Now, it's not so much a race thing. I think it's just the stereotypes of white basketball players that they can shoot and they don't defend and they're not scrappy.
They can be taken advantage of.
They're not as athletic, which is,
Can't
for the most part,
feet, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So these guys work really hard at their game to earn respect.
Yes.
And I think that, I'm not saying that that's strictly a white thing. I'm just saying with guys like Peyton Pritchard who are scrappy and play like that, that's testament to the way that they approach their game. It's not fun for them. Like it's not a craft. It's not a thing that they do. They shoot around with their mates. These guys are living this. Like they take this game to the next level because of the pressure that gets put on them by their teammates, by their opponents, and they handle that pressure much better. That's why he was there for that offensive rebound. So huge testament to Peyton Pritchard for what he's been able to carve out in his very young career for the Boston Celtics. It's impressive.
He's been really important for them, especially filling in for the injuries like we mentioned.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on Peyton. I don't think he'll win Rookie of the Year, but he'll be on this list or in and around it most likely.
Yep.
Number 3, one of my favorite players to watch, actually. I think he's got such a high ceiling. I'm going to be saying this a lot during the season. James Wiseman, starting center for the Golden State Warriors. Since Draymond Green has come back, I think his defense has really improved. The metrics may not necessarily reflect a major improvement, but just from the eye test perspective, he is an incredible prospect. And he's been playing well as is just for this particular ranking. He makes impactful plays on both sides of the court. His wingspan is insane. He looks like an alien out there with his length and his athleticism.
Yep.
And I just love watching him go end to end when he grabs a rebound and dunks it on the other end. It's incredible.
Yep.
He's something else.
Yeah, he's very athletic for a 7'2", 7'1", whatever he is, over 7 foot. He has that JaVale McGee athleticism, but he's also a much smarter basketball player.
He's more coordinated.
JaVale McGee.
And his IQ is a bit better.
He's actually jumped up one spot this week. So we also should shout out Cole Anthony while we're here and just say that, Cole Anthony hasn't done anything wrong to move himself out of this list. He's been available and he's been pretty good. These guys deserve to be on here, so we should keep him there. Cole Anthony was unlucky to miss out this week.
I just wanted to point out the reason why I took him off the list is because he's shooting 33% from the court, from the field. Not good. That needs to improve.
He has moved into a starting role with the Magic with the injury to
Markelle Fultz.
Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. There's too many names.
There's a lot of names.
Yeah, they should just be like sounds like and then I could remember it. Yeah. Cole Anthony dropped out and James Wiseman moved up one spot, deservedly so. Yeah. Wiseman's been really good and especially getting Curry open looks. That's what I said when he was drafted and I've said it every week since. He doesn't need to do everything on the court, which is why he's been so effective. Mm-hmm. He's just played his role. He's played his role very, very well, and deserves to take that number 3 spot. So nice work.
Congrats.
Picking up that one, James Wiseman. You will get a trophy in the mail once I find out your address.
Yeah.
Nothing creepy there. Just want to send you a Tim Tam.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2, who have we got?
LaMelo Ball. I think this is
Oh,
going to draw a lot of controversy. I think a
Love
lot of
LaMelo
people.
Ball.
I know. For me, he's really grown on me in terms of watching him and believing in him as an NBA player and prospect.
yeah.
I didn't initially believe in him because I thought he sort of played immaturely. He played sort of street ball.
Yeah.
But it's translated so well. He makes so many impactful plays, even defensively, more than I expected. Like he's 6'7", 6'8". So just by sheer size, he's going to make plays happen there. But his offense has been so fun to watch. And whatever his stats.
He is playing. He's played 13 games. Played all 13 games. Hasn't started a game yet. But his minutes have been above 25 minutes per game, and the last couple of weeks, last couple of games, he's been over 30. But yeah, his field goal percentage is okay.
Yep.
It will improve. It's at 40%. His 3-point percentage will also improve. It's at 33%. But he's still attempting, 4.5 3-point shots per game, and he's averaging 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 6.5 assists.
Pretty good.
It's pretty damn good.
He's grabbing a lot of boards, which I'm impressed by.
He did that. Let's look at the NBL for a second as reference. He did that in the NBL. He was very good at grabbing boards. His offense, he just tried to find his shot, and he was uncomfortable in the NBL. But that is what translates so well to the NBA. These players are more offensively aware than NBL players. They're more refined. Their games are a lot better, and he has better talent around him. And I think we're really seeing the true potential of Charlotte with LaMelo Ball on the court.
They're one of my favorite teams to watch.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
And Gordon Hayward, let's be honest.
Welcome back.
Gordon Hayward has captured that form from when he was at the Jazz.
I think he's having his best season.
He is.
Statistically,
he is by far having his best season, and he should be an all-star.
Yeah.
He's been really good and the perfect fit for the Charlotte Hornets. So everyone that had a go at me for saying that he was a good signing,
all 8 of you,
no words.
Stick that in your pipe.
Yeah. Smoke it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been sensational watching LaMelo Ball play, and he's jumped up from our number 5 spot to the number 2 spot. So yeah, LaMelo Ball also gets a Tim Tam.
Now, this is where I wanted to point out, I think a lot of people are going to disagree, which is fine. You're entitled to your incorrect opinions. But LaMelo Ball isn't our top pick. In fact, it's still Tyrese Halliburton.
It is.
For these very reasons. So LaMelo is, at this point of recording, he's 3rd in scoring, 1st in assists and rebounds for rookies, which is crazy considering his age. But Tyrese gets the advantage because he's on he's in a tougher conference, impacting winning. He's 3rd in scoring. Tyrese is 2nd in assists for the Sacramento Kings. He has still has the best effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage, both really important metrics to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
He also has the highest assist to turnover ratio, and he's not even in the top 10 for rookies in usage rate.
Yeah.
So his stats are really good for what they are at this point.
Yeah.
They're only going to improve as he gets more minutes. He's just under 25 minutes per game, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And he also has a higher offensive rating than LaMelo. So when you look at just the metrics side of things, he's more impressive than LaMelo in a lot of regards.
They're averaging the same amount of points, which is important to mention.
Yeah. Yep.
Their rebounds very different. Tyrese plays a very different style of game to LaMelo.
He's more controlled and he's more mature already.
He's not ball dominant. He's happy to play off ball, and he creates shots for his teammates off the ball. And what I mean by that is he's happy to play, the magnet on offense, where he'll run across the baseline. He'll cut from side to side, come up to the top of the key, run down to the hoop, and then cut back across. And he catches the defense's eyes, which opens up driving lanes for the good tribers on the team like Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox. He's made such a huge difference to Sacramento. That's why he's number one.
And they haven't even been playing that well overall. They have a lot of room to improve.
Yeah.
But he has been so important to that team
Huge.
already.
Yeah, huge.
It's been impressive.
I don't know where they'd be without him. Let's put it that way.
I agree.
Yeah. So Tyrese Halliburton holds the number one spot.
Yeah.
And that's just based off efficiency and maturity of his game. LaMelo, to be honest, the way he's been playing, it's not going to be long before he is the unanimous Rookie of the Year.
It's heading that way.
He's been fantastic. He has to start games for Charlotte. Charlotte have to make that move sooner rather than later because they need to get off to a fast start, and he needs to be playing with Gordon Hayward more often.
I think what might happen with Charlotte is, I don't want to go off too much of a tangent here. I think they might move either Rozier or Devontae Graham, or just move Devontae Graham probably to the bench and start LaMelo.
Yep.
So then you have more size, same if not better creation of shots, and Devontae Graham can bolster the bench, similar to what LaMelo's doing, except LaMelo should start, and he should also finish games for that matter. He's been incredible, but Tyrese is still holding down the top spot. So congrats, you get 2 Tim Tams.
2 Tim Tams.
Yeah, maybe even a whole packet. Why not?
We might, look, we'll just hold it here, and when you're ready, just hit us up and we'll send it. So
keep an eye on our DMs.
Yeah. Let's
right.
look at the top 5 players this week, Macca.
All right.
So this is based off the last 2 weeks of basketball. There's been a lot of changes to this list.
There has been. It's been a weird list change. Let me pull up the old list because, first of all, I know that Trae Young has completely dropped off from our top 5. He won't even be in the honorable mention as such. That actually goes to Paul George, our power ranking honorable mention this week.
He was a tough out.
Yeah. I wanted to give him credit because he's been leading the Clippers with Kawhi missing a few games, but he's been playing well, averaging about 25, 6, and 6, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, leading all players shooting threes percentage-wise if you have attempted over 7 per game. He's shooting close to 50% on those. That's pretty
over 50,
crazy.
I checked it.
It's over 50, yeah.
It's 51.
So that's pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
And again, leading one of the better teams in the league, not just in the West.
Yep.
But yeah, let me just grab the last week's rankings.
I've got it here.
Oh, so so who's dropped off? Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, who were our sort of 5A, 5B in the first rankings.
Now, obviously, that is for the obvious reason of Kyrie just going completely MIA.
He fell off the list because he's fallen off the court.
Yeah. Kevin Durant's done nothing wrong, but he's also, his play has kept much the same, where we thought, there were guys that deserved to be on the list a bit more so than Kevin Durant.
The Nets have to win a bit more.
Yeah.
Especially in the East.
So we've added Stephen Curry to our list at number 5.
Yeah, deservedly so.
Sensational.
Not just the 62-point game.
Yep.
He's been incredible.
Yep.
Averaging over 30 points per game, if I'm not mistaken. Close to.
It's dropped to 28.4.
28.4.
Yeah, I thought he was averaging 32 when I checked yesterday, but that's fine. Things change.
We're not wrong very often. If ever.
Just reference the other pods for that.
Yeah.
So he's averaging 6.2 assists, 5.5 rebounds, which is on course with his career averages. And his points per game are up on last year and looking back towards his MVP season. So, 28.5 points, really, really good efficiency as always.
Yep.
You never doubt any of that.
He's a special player.
Yeah, he's very special.
And he's playing about 35 minutes a game.
Yep.
So good for Steph. He definitely deserves some credit here. I still think he's arguably the most impactful player in the league right now because of the way he draws attention.
Yep.
The gravity on the court is like a lot of people like to refer to the way he impacts the game.
Yep.
When he's on, everyone tunes in.
Yep.
And he's on pretty frequently.
He had a really tough start to the season. And to get back to where he is now and then to lift up all his stats like that in the space of 2 weeks, it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So Look, he's the reason why the Warriors are hanging in games at the moment. Once they get that cohesion right and other players start performing to that level, they'll be much better. But yeah, Steph's a big reason why they're hanging in games like that.
No doubt, yeah. So he was number 5. Number 4, we've got Domantas Sabonis for the Indiana Pacers. Outstanding season. Josh mentioned earlier his hot take was that, or one of his hot takes was that Sabonis should be in the MVP conversation. As we pointed out here, we definitely think he is.
Yeah.
He's carrying this Pacers team along with Malcolm Brogdon, but the offense has really started to go through Sabonis, as we've previously referenced. His stats are outstanding. He's 3rd in rebounding in the league, and for a big guy, he's 23rd in assists overall, which is pretty impressive as well. He's arguably one of the top 10 players in the league.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right now.
And he's been underrated for such a long time. Even making the All-Star game, people didn't know who he even was.
I know.
Which shocks me that you wouldn't pay attention to a guy that's putting up, 20-point double-doubles, has had a double-double in every game to this point. Those kinds of things don't happen very often. Like Kevin Love did it. He's done it a couple of times. Andre Drummond has done it a fair bit. But, the level of play that Sabonis is at right now is a big reason why the Pacers are 8-4. So, that's why he's there. He has dropped one spot, but he's given up his spot to
Joel Embiid.
At number 3.
So they swapped spots. The two of them have swapped spots here from the last power rankings. Joel Embiid has been averaging 25 and we'll give him 12 rebounds a game, shooting 54%, which is a good improvement of his field goal percentage, close to 40% from 3 and 85% from the free throw line. Outstanding numbers. Leading arguably the best team in the East next to Milwaukee.
I'd have them as the best.
You'd have them over Milwaukee?
Yeah, I would.
Wow.
Okay. I would.
Spicy. Embiid has been a beast, and he's really... It seems like he's taking this season very seriously. He wants to win. He isn't memeing all the time anymore as such, per se. And I think Doc Rivers has sort of unlocked the way to play with him and Simmons.
He still has a tendency to settle for a mid-range shot. Yeah. And that bothers the absolute, out of me. Yeah. Because he's 7'3".
I know.
And has so much strength in the post. You can't stop him. You can't stop him in the post.
Shaq-esque.
So the fact that he steps back and shoots these weird mid-range shots is really,
He's making more of them.
Yeah. But still, he shouldn't.
I agree.
The efficiency should be much higher for a player like Joel Embiid. But then again, he drops a 46-point double-double against the Miami Heat, including a shot that takes them to overtime, which was... unbelievable step back mid-range. It was whatever.
I want to give him credit for that game as well, but Miami was also shorthanded.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of guys that were isolating.
It shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Agreed.
But yeah, the stat line for Joel Embiid was 45 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and he also had a career high 5 steals in an overtime game. He was unstoppable in the third quarter. Once he decided to, drive in and look for his shot, that was when we really saw Joel Embiid playing at his best.
That's right.
Embiid is one of those players you can't stop. When he's on, he's on. It is important to mention that in that game, the Miami Heat, we didn't have a player that was over 7 foot except for Kelly Olynyk, who is not a center. He's a power forward. He plays on the perimeter.
It's a tough matchup.
And Precious Achiuwa spent most of the game guarding Joel Embiid, which was a big learning curve for him.
Oh my God, imagine that.
It was tough. Precious Achiuwa is a great defender, but he's also 6'8", so he really struggled matching up against a guy that just shot over the top of him comfortably. But yeah, watching Joel Embiid go to work in the post like that was the real highlight of the game. And yeah, less mid-range shots, the better for Joel. He really looked for his shot inside.
Yep.
And he's done that more and more this season, which is why he is our number 3.
That's right. Yeah. So that's the bottom 3 of that list so far. Who do you got number 2?
The King, LeBron James.
The Kang.
Yeah, he deserves to be on this list.
Absolutely.
It was really hard to leave him off last week.
Yep.
We thought that, attributed a lot of wins to Anthony Davis, but, Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis and does the same thing week in, week out. The King is a different level of player.
I was going to say, I don't think Davis has played all that well overall this season. His stats are down. They're taking it very easy. Pardon me. They're taking it very easy overall, the Lakers are. They are leading the league in wins. I think they're 11-3 at the time of this recording.
Yep.
But LeBron has been outstanding. 24, 8, and 7. Almost 8 assists actually per game. So his numbers are down a little bit overall, but he's been the best player on the team and arguably the best player in the league still.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. Just impressive to watch.
What are his numbers looking like?
He controls the game. LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah, 24, 8, and 8, basically. 48.5 from the field.
Yep.
38 from 3, which is really good.
Crazy.
And he's actually shooting pretty well for him from the free throw line. He usually is under 70, but he's 73% this year. Yeah. So LeBron is doing LeBron things.
Yep.
And it's year 18.
Yep.
So what can you say?
He's fantastic. There's no more superlatives for LeBron. He's the best player in the league, best player for a long time. And he's not number one on our list yet.
Nope.
And there's a reason for that. That is because the Joker is
the man,
untouchable.
Yeah.
He holds his spot at number one, and deservedly so. Absolutely amazing to watch this guy play basketball.
Yeah. You can't say anything.
No. He's averaging
say enough.
Career high numbers across the board. 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 10.5 assists for a guy over 7 foot is, unheard of. He's actually listed at 6'11", but whatever, 7 foot to me. He's shooting 56% from the field and 37% from three.
Yeah.
His free throw numbers are at a career high 84%.
He's just a machine.
You can't stop him.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
He's too bulky, and he's too skilled, and he's too smart. And
at this stage of the season, he's the MVP. At this stage,
I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
He has been controlling everything for Denver. The rest of the team has yet to pick it up as of late.
They've been very poor.
They've been underperforming, definitely.
They've been poor.
But yeah, Jokic has had some big games. Like he had a couple back-to-back. He had 35 and then 38 against Minnesota and Dallas. But yeah, he's led some impressive wins. They beat Philadelphia by 12, although that was the game where Philly was missing 9 guys. But Denver has so much room to improve. Once they all gel and get on the same page, that team is going to be, we still think, the number 1 or the number 2 challenger to the Lakers. It's either them or Dallas.
Yep.
But that was our players' power rankings. Nikola Jokic.
The only thing I would say about Denver, because they're not on our team ranking, so I do want to go into it a little bit. I would like to see them bring in a center to pair with Jokic.
As another center, like Mason Plumlee was before.
Yeah, because his effectiveness, he is, the most effective center in the NBA right now.
Yeah. But
I would like to see him also have the ability to play the primary ball handler and not have to worry about being in the paint all the time. He's been sensational this year, so if they don't, it's fine. He's playing unbelievable, so they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But to this point of the season, adding another big guy isn't going to hurt, and Bol hasn't been there. So he started 1 game this year, 2 games, and is just not, he's not ready. He's not big enough.
I honestly thought he would contribute a lot more.
I thought he would too.
We were pretty high on him.
I was really high on him. And Hartenstein, not ready.
Hartenstein.
He was the one that I pointed out in preseason as a really good get.
We gave him like a 10-minute segment.
He's played...
He'll never see that again.
He's played 10 games, averages 10 minutes per game, is averaging 5 points. These guys are all... They're young, and Michael Porter's had some injury problems this year. He's missed majority of the season now, and I don't know if that's due to protocol or if it's injury related. I should probably fact check, but I'm not going to.
That's not what we do here.
No, so I would like to see them add a big guy or potentially add another power forward, similar to the way Jeremy Grant played last year, where they can spot up, shoot, and also get some boards. But yeah. I'm interested to see.
Yeah. Just a quick fact check for you, even though that's not what we do.
He is in protocol.
He has been isolating for health and safety reasons.
Yes.
Hopefully he returns soon. Don't know when the latest update was, maybe 4 days ago.
Yep.
But yeah, that's that. Those are our players. Now, on to the teams. Who do we have for honorable mention?
Our honorable mention is a two-headed monster.
Okay.
I would say Brooklyn Nets, who are now a three-headed monster in themselves. The Harden trade bumps them up.
Yeah.
But we did discuss the potential of them not performing very well once they have all three on the court. They played really well today by the looks of it. I'll probably watch a little bit of that game once we leave here. But look, the Harden trade bumps them up on that list. Mm-hmm. And the Portland Trail Blazers deserve a mention for their winning streak. But the tough loss of Yusuf Nurkic, that's a hard one to take.
Yeah.
They don't really have a backup center there, so I'm not sure what they do.
Well, not of his caliber, unfortunately. Like Enes Kanter can fill in, of course.
But
he should be playing.
defend.
No, he should be playing 15 to 20 minutes at the most.
Yep.
Although this could be Harry Giles' opportunity.
Could be. It could be.
We talked a lot about him in the preseason.
He needs to come a long way in his performance to warrant that starting spot. So, look, they definitely deserve a mention. They've been pretty good. So, who have we got at number 5, Macca?
All right, number 5, we've got the Boston Celtics. They have been one of the best teams in the East, and we have to give them some credit. Despite some of the injuries and the isolation protocols of the NBA, they have remained relevant. Brad Stevens is really doing an amazing job, as are the players as well. We shouted out Peyton Pritchard, obviously, in our rookie rankings. But the Celtics just keep chugging along. They keep putting out good numbers, keep putting out good performances, and they're a tough team to beat on a nightly basis. I
don't have anything to add. They've been
That's
good.
it.
They deserve to be top 5.
Yeah.
That's where they are.
Yep.
Look, I'm looking at the list. I'm actually a little bit upset now that I'm, really paying attention to it.
Uh-oh.
We're missing one of my favorite East teams right now.
Oh, is it Indiana?
No. 76ers.
Oh.
There's no 76ers on this list, Macca.
Oh, man.
I would have,
The disrespect.
I'd probably have the 76ers at 5. Let's just agree to disagree there. Boston deserve to be top 5, but I think the 76ers do too. So they're a special mention now.
I think where I went with this list and how I would knock them off is because they had those they had a massive amount of players out, and it kind of just impacts
agree with that,
them on being on the list. But
I don't have a huge problem with them missing off the list. I'd just say that, I would have them at 5 probably, if anywhere.
All right. I mean, it's a bit of a mix there. Anything past 4. I think the top 4 are a little bit undisputed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So number 4, who have we got?
Number 4, we have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Whoa. That was
Milwaukee Bucks. They're winning by a lot. They are winning by a lot.
Trust me, you're not wrong.
They are wiping the floor with teams. It's really hard to gauge how good they are with all this protocol going on, though.
It's regular season versus playoffs, but right now we're just judging the regular season.
Based off what they've done to this point, they have changed our list dramatically, considering who we had at 5 and 4. We had the Nets and Lakers, and Bucks weren't even on the list. So they've now jumped into number 4 and knocked out Brooklyn from the list to an honorable mention. So, look, Giannis hasn't even been at his best yet. He's still been, hot and cold. He has games where you don't even notice him on the court, and that's pretty hard for a guy that's almost 7 foot tall and has the athletic ability of Giannis. They've been carried a lot by Drew Holiday, who's been absolutely brilliant.
Middleton's been playing well as well, but Holiday has certainly stood out. Yeah, but
Holiday is one of those players that he can play a full game and be a defensive pest, and then you catch him on the offensive end where he's happy to play off ball or primary ball handler, and that's something they didn't really have in Bledsoe. So as far as the numbers go, their numbers are still almost identical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been really happy with how Drew Holiday's been playing.
Yeah. I do remember, I'm not calling you out, but I remember you were a bit skeptical that he was an improvement on Bledsoe. But I'm happy to hear you've come around.
I have come around.
That's
now that
what happens.
Look, it's really hard to see players switch and look at them on their new teams. You know what I mean?
If they haven't played.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
To make an assessment based on someone from when you've seen them play with a franchise for so long and you're like, well, that's what they are. Mm-hmm. And then they go to a new franchise and they change a couple of things.
That's right.
And then they're a different player.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do take back the fact that Eric Bledsoe was not an upgrade. Drew Holiday was not an upgrade on Eric Bledsoe.
All right, accepted.
I also don't agree that they should have traded 3 first-round picks.
Oh, yeah.
That was
gave
too
up a
much.
fair amount.
That was too much. Anyway,
that's
continue.
all good. Just wanted to lastly point out the Bucks, prior to us actually getting into this podcast, they were leading the league in point differential. The Lakers have taken that over, but the Bucks are winning by an average of 10, almost 11 points per game, which is nuts. So the Bucks have just been powering through the regular season as they usually do. It's still early. As you mentioned, Giannis hasn't quite been in MVP form. I don't think he'll win another MVP this year, or probably not for a little while. I think there's a bit of voting fatigue with him, and also the hangover of how he played in the playoffs.
I also think a big contract extension tends to take the shine off it as well.
It does.
It's interesting, though, because when you pay a player that much, they tend to fall back in all of their player rankings because they're like, oh, they're being paid a lot, so that's what we expect. Whereas
at the very least, yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at Giannis and you're like, oh, he was being paid 14 mil last year, he was an MVP player because of his value to his team, and then his value on the court was completely different. So
he needs to.
It's an interesting dynamic when you look at it like that.
It is actually, yeah. It's a good point. If he's going to win another MVP, he'd probably have to average like 40 and 20. Or some crazy stats.
You're probably right. Honestly, it's
because he needs to impress people.
Yeah,
he was already one of the very few players to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the Bucks. Number 4. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Clippers. They've been playing really well. As we mentioned the last time, I think a lot of people were skeptical that it was for real. But they have continued to play strong basketball.
Yep.
I honestly think PG, Kawhi, and Ibaka is a really good top 3.
I like it too.
And their bench has been pretty solid. I've been impressed by Luke Kennard in particular. I didn't think he deserved that money, the contract he got, which was 4 years, $64 million.
He's got to come on a fair way. Like, there's still a lot of learning to do on this franchise.
Getting acclimated with your teammates.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they've played well, and even Nick Batum has contributed.
Super impressed.
Far more than I expected.
Super impressed.
I thought he was just the guy they brought in to be like a veteran, almost like maybe similar to a Jared Dudley. But yeah, he's actually been playing and starting for them and finishing some games as well. So
his defense has been really good. Like, one-on-one, he doesn't get caught out much.
He's versatile.
Yeah.
And he's good out there.
He's got a couple of games with multiple steals.
High basketball IQ guy.
Very high basketball IQ. His turnovers are way down. Personal fouls probably need some work. He's averaging a couple of them, but I think that comes with the territory of playing physical defense. His efficiency numbers are up across the board, up almost 12%.
That's good.
His efficiency.
That'll do.
His free throw numbers are up to 85%, which is just slightly above his career average. His field goal 3-point percentage is at 42%, and his field goal percentage in general is at 50%, which is, really, really solid for a player coming off the bench. So he's done his job, and he was brought in to do a job, and, he's probably performed better than what almost everyone expected.
At least myself, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, from him going from a walking corpse in Charlotte to what he is now is impressive in itself.
Yeah.
And even if he was moderately decent, he's been above that. And that's why it's so impressive to watch. So good for Nick. Clippers number 3. Their bench has also been solid, like we mentioned. But they just look like one of those teams. We had them at number 4, I think, and basically the third threat to the Lakers in the West. They could rise above that. And last power rankings, they were our number 1. But they have fallen behind the last week's number 2, actually, still, Phoenix Suns.
They hold the spot.
They hold the spot, exactly.
Yeah, which we didn't expect. Even when we did we read into the podcast,
Right.
we were leading into it last week, and we both looked at this and went, should they be number 2?
Yeah, I mean, it was still early. A lot of stuff they were doing it didn't necessarily seem sustainable.
Yeah.
But they have definitely kept it up. Not too long ago, they had the best defensive rating in the league.
Yeah.
That's dropped off a little bit. I think they're still in the top 10.
Yeah, look,
top 5.
They've got really good defenders across the board. Chris Paul's still one of the best plus defenders at the point guard position that the NBA has ever had.
They're taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
And they've game planned properly this year to have everybody on the same page.
Huge testament to the coach. Huge.
Yeah.
What is it, Nate Bjorken?
No, that's the Pacers coach.
Oh, dude.
Their head coach, the Phoenix Suns head coach, is actually Eric Spoelstra.
Yep. Good, very good. It's Monty Williams.
Yeah.
So huge testament to Monty Williams. Please cut out me saying Nate Bjorken.
Nope.
Huge testament to Monty Williams for the job that he's done this season with the Phoenix. He was with them last year, but I think, it was more so a player fit last year than it was, the structures that he was putting out.
Yeah.
They didn't have a point guard, which has always been a problem with Phoenix. But now he has someone that can run the offense, slow it down when they need to.
That's right.
I think they're running the slowest offense in the league.
They probably still have the slowest pace.
Yep.
By design. I think they're wanting to be prepared for the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's good to see that. Let me just pull that up. You can chit-chat away.
Yeah, so Chris Paul has allowed them to slow it down 100%. He's been fantastic at, really bringing other players into it that possibly didn't see as much ball last year. I'm looking at Mikal Bridges. The Bridgeses are the most difficult. The most difficult players in the NBA to remember who's who. But yeah, look, Chris Paul's been the answer for Phoenix, and they've been praying for a point guard and praying for a backcourt partner for Devin Booker for so long, and now they have it. And
absolutely.
He has turned that franchise into a real contender. They really could be a knife in the side for the Lakers. The Lakers probably will struggle playing against the Suns.
Yeah, that might be the best backcourt in the league, aside from Lillard-McCollum, who I cannot not mention because they're so good. But just to double check that stat from
and
before,
Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, no. The pace question, they're in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
Slowest pace in the league. They've all you're competing with the Knicks, Cavs, and Clippers, but Phoenix plays at that pace, I believe, because they want to be ready for the playoffs when the pace is similar or slower.
Yep.
And you need to have a good, solid half-court offense.
Yep.
You're still going to want to get out on the break and get fast break buckets, but Phoenix has done really well so far. Not so shockingly, who's number 1, Josh?
Number 1 is, again, no. Number 1 this week is the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
They're almost unbeatable. What are you supposed to do? How do you stop them?
I think about it all the time. I lose sleep about it. The Lakers just have so much talent. They have so much LeBron. They have so much Anthony Davis.
Montrezl Harrell, who's also been
he's just dunking on
unstoppable.
You. Marc Gasol has been impressive.
I don't. How do you stop it? You can't.
Dennis Schroeder.
What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. Just give up. Just move on and hope you can get some injuries in there for them.
We're literally just waiting for the Lakers to play someone in the finals.
Well, I'm waiting for the conference finals at least, where we should see somebody impressive. I don't expect the Lakers to have any trouble in the first or second round.
Nuggets, if the Nuggets can get there, they're going to be a hard out for the Lakers. With Jokic playing at the level he is, I don't think even Davis could slow him down at the level he's playing at.
The only way I can see the Lakers truly having trouble is since now Nurkic has injured his wrist, if they fall into a lower seed, and maybe, again, like last year, but this time they come in
with Nurkic
properly healthy, and they have a better roster than they did in the last playoffs. They could be a formidable problem for the Lakers.
Yeah, they're better defensively with Derek Jones Jr., who has guarded LeBron before and done a really good job.
Yeah.
And Robert Covington, who's really good at switching on the perimeter. So
how's that combo on defense?
That's probably the best two. Oh, no, I can't really say that with Kawhi and Paul George. So, but they're up there.
Top 5.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, they deserve to be number one.
Hands down.
Probably haven't even seen the best of the Lakers yet, so that's scary. And they have to be favourites to take it all this year.
Yeah, and the thing is, having LeBron is like the ultimate confidence booster. So that team, and I wanted to say, LeBron has been playing with a level of confidence and assuredness in his own game, similar to when he won, or the year after he won his first ring in 2013.
Yeah.
Every game was like a performance where you just were watching him in complete awe. And he had that shot where he took the three and then turned around to the bench right away.
Yeah.
Like he's not fazed by anything anymore. He's achieved close to what I like to call basketball zen.
Yeah.
Where he's just in the zone all the time, knows what to do, what play to make. He's never worried about anything. The last thing I wanted to say about the Lakers is this team is still simmering. If I was going to use a cooking analogy, they're not ready to serve yet, but come playoff time, they should be unbelievable. So keep an eye out for that. Lakers, number one.
I also think that LeBron's also now confident in his shot, which
Jump shot.
It's been a couple of years, maturing that jump shot and getting to this point. He's probably been shooting like this since the Cavaliers, the last season with the Cavs, when he really took on that long distance three kind of thing and tried to emulate Steph Curry and the Warriors offense.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite there. But at this level now, he's willing to take a jump shot if the defender's playing off him.
Yeah.
Whereas he'd look to drive or try and get a better matchup on defense if a player was playing off him. Now he's just like, oh, you want to stand there? Cool. Jump shot.
Yeah.
Three.
He's ready.
Face. Lakers are the best team in basketball. They
Hands down.
probably will be for the majority of the season, if not the rest of the season. So this will almost be a top four and the Lakers list for the rest of the year.
Do you think the Lakers can crack 60 wins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's only 62 games this year.
There's 72.
You're right.
And they've
Sorry,
lost,
my bad.
That's all right. They've won 11. They've lost 3. So 60 games is not out of the realm of possibility, but they've been dominating. So.
You're right. So it's either going to be 60 or mid 50s.
Yeah.
That's their range, and I think it could even end up being on the higher end of that. They could end up with like a 90% win rate, which is insane. Anyway, that's enough about the Lakers because we'll be talking about them all year.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to finish this with a fun little game that we have called
the no-look pass. So this is where we're going to quiz each other and see what we know, what we don't know. So I'm just going to turn
have you got your answers there too?
I do.
Oh.
So I'm going to start if you don't mind, Josh.
Yeah, you kick us off.
And basically, if you can answer these, it's true or false. 3 questions for Josh.
Okay.
Okay. So number 1, Joe Ingles, true or false? Joe Ingles is the oldest Australian basketball player in the NBA.
Let me think about this.
Doing your country proud. To be honest, I wouldn't know who the oldest or youngest Canadian is, so.
I don't know if Baines is older or Mills is older. I'm going to say false. I think it's Patty Mills.
Wow, you're right. It's false, but it's not Patty Mills.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
I'll give you a bonus point if you can guess who the answer is.
Damn. Blank.
It was Baines.
It was Baines.
You had it.
There you go.
By 1
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah,
Baines
okay.
is 1986, and Ingles is an 87 guy.
Okay.
So there you go.
Where's Mills?
I don't have his numbers.
Yeah, check it because I think Mills is older too.
He might be, so those are the 2 oldest.
Okay, he might be the same year as he's 32. He's 88. Far out. There you go. I was well off. I thought Mills was much older. Sorry, Patty.
He seems like he's been around longer than the other 2.
He has been around longer than the other 2.
Overall, but yeah.
Anyway.
All right, next up. Duncan Robinson, true or false, is a distant relative of former NBA player Nate Robinson.
False.
Damn it. I thought you'd give it some thought.
No.
That's definitely false.
That is false.
Definitely
That
false.
is very false.
All right, lastly. True or false, Josh? Among all players attempting 7 or more threes per game, so there was a list of close to 30 players when I looked it up, 7 or more threes per game, Terry Rozier leads the league in 3-point shooting percentage? With that filter applied.
Ask it again.
Okay, so among the 3-point shooting percentage leaders, players attempting more than 7 threes a game, it's a list of just under 30 guys. Terry Rozier is leading that list.
This one's got me because I do remember seeing Terry Rozier leading the league in 3-point percentage at some time. But I don't know.
He's been shooting really well.
Is.
He's been shooting really well. Scary Terry is almost back.
The only other guy that I would have up there would be Duncan, because I know his 3-point percentage is 44% or 43. I'm going to say true.
You got that one wrong.
There you go.
The answer, can you guess the answer? You won't guess it.
Well, it's false. That's the answer.
Well, the answer is false, but the real number one guy in that list.
Yeah, that's a tough one because it was a weird list and it has been weird for quite a while. Number one.
I thought I'd get you with three straight falses, so that worked out.
Is it? I wasn't even thinking about that, to be honest with you. I just knew that there's not someone up there that's like actually
subconscious
a shooter. It's just someone random.
So the
is
leader,
it PJ Tucker?
No, the leader is somebody relevant.
Okay,
a really good player.
Who is it?
It's Paul George.
PG.
Yeah, he's close to 50% on threes.
Good on him.
Killing it.
Nice work.
Yeah, still hate Paul
That's
George.
That's a good stat, though. Thank you. That's a good one.
You're all
welcome. All right. My ones are a bit more. I kind of jump between classic and modern.
Okay.
So let's go. True or false? The Boston Celtics have the most MVP winners in NBA history.
Ooh. That's a good question. I would consider myself a history junkie. I should know this one. Okay. Boston Celtics, most MVP winners. Okay, so let's say Bill Russell, probably Bob Cousy, Larry Bird, not George Mikan, Dave Cowens. Who else have they had? They didn't have anyone recently. Most MVP winners. False.
No, it's true.
Oh,
they have 10.
What?
Yeah, they have 10 MVP winners all time.
Are we talking about seasons where the guy
Yeah.
Man, I might have said yes. I didn't understand that one.
I'm sorry, man. I should have expanded on the question a little bit more.
If it was guys that have won.
It is true.
Right.
And I think even at that point it's true as well because they have won more than the Lakers.
I was thinking the Lakers was the right answer.
because the Lakers have 8.
Yeah. I thought the Lakers was the right answer.
But they had a couple of back-to-backs as well. Magic Johnson, I think, won a couple.
Kareem probably did.
Kareem did, yeah.
Shaq.
Anyway,
Kobe.
So, okay.
I'll take that loss. That's all right.
Yeah, that's a loss. I'll you know what? I'm just going to tell you.
Hold this L, bruh.
Yep. Okay. Shaq has hit more three-pointers than Ben Simmons in his career.
Okay, Ben Simmons has hit like 3 or 4. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Wow.
I really like this one. I'm super proud of this.
It's true.
No, it's false.
What? How many
Shaq
more?
has 1.
Oh, I thought he had like 4.
Career-made three-pointer.
It was a half quarter or full court shot.
It was a three-quarter court. No, it wasn't. It was in the half court. And they threw it inbound, and he just kind of
chucked it.
I don't know what it was. It was interesting, but it went in. That is his only three-pointer made in his career.
I thought he had more than that.
And Ben Simmons has 3 career three-pointers.
3.
Yeah, it's Shaq broke more backboards in the NBA than he hit three-pointers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
I thought Shaq had more than that, but all right, that's a good question.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too because when I looked that up, I was amazed.
I just would have thought at some point he was just like, all right, we're
around
up
for
by
long
30.
enough, man.
Yeah. Not only that, but there would have been at least a few games where they were up by a bunch. Yeah. It's like, all right, Shaq.
He attempted a couple, but he attempted like 15 or 16, but he hit 1.
Is that more than Ben Simmons? More attempts? Maybe?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out to Ben Simmons.
Actually, Ben Simmons has had a lot of half-court shots.
Attempts. Okay,
yeah,
fair.
so I don't know. Actually, I'd have to look that up. The shortest player in NBA history, do you know who that is?
Muggsy Bogues?
It is Muggsy, who was 5'3", had more blocked shots in his career than Myers Leonard had last season in his 49 games starting as the Heat's center.
Okay, one more time.
So the shortest player in NBA history, Muggsy Bogues, who was 5'3",
Yeah.
had more block shots in his career than Myers Leonard had block shots in his 49 games as the Heat's starting center. True or false?
Well, Muggsy was a pesky defender.
He was.
He had heaps of steals. Like, he was a steal fiend.
Yes, but block shots?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, is he... Wow. I know Myers is not fond of blocking shots. Like, he's a bit underwhelming for a 7'1" guy.
Yep.
Man, these are good ones.
Thank you.
I feel bad that I put in the Duncan Robinson, Nate Robinson.
So Muggsy has played 14 seasons, or played more than 14 seasons.
I mean, false?
No, it's true.
Oh, my God.
Muggsy Bogues had 39 block shots in his 14 seasons. Isn't that insane? 5'3". He had 39, and Myers only had 15 blocks in 49 games.
I hate Myers Leonard now. That's pretty... I'll give credit to Muggsy for that one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. That's why I had to throw that in there.
Wow.
I had to pick a starting center, and Myers Leonard was perfect because he doesn't defend. So
He doesn't block shots. I don't get it.
he's not good at blocking shots. Not
Rounded.
at all. Whenever he blocked shots, we had a party. So yeah, there you go. That's the no-look pass, which I won the first week of.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk out of here with a crown. Even though Mac may blame me for the first question not asking it correctly, he still got the other two wrong. I still win.
That was a 2.5 out of 3
We're
wrong.
very, very competitive people here on the Shootaround Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Shootaround Podcast this week. It's a longer episode, but we hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you subscribe, like our content, please, because it helps us out a lot.
Yep.
And also like the video if you're watching on YouTube.
Or let us know if you don't like it even.
Yeah,
that
please,
helps us out as well.
Please let us know if you don't like it so we can change nothing for you next week. Also, subscribe to us on any podcasting app you're using at the moment, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the list goes on.
Yep.
Please subscribe, leave a review, share it with your friends, let them know that we're actually all right to listen to. And we'll catch you next week on the next episode of the Shootaround Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
See you later.
Bye.